In 2005, there was a date palm seed that was germinated, and it was just a mere 2,000 years old. And it's still growing. Guten Yardening, everybody! Over the past few years, we have gathered and saved and bought so many different seeds in preparation for planting in our garden. And one of the main questions we need to answer is, are they still viable? Will they germinate at a high percentage when we go outside to plant? Today I'm going to show you a germination test that is so simple, one that you can use supplies that you already have in your home, and it's going to show you so much and help prevent a lot of garden heartache. Let's take a look. Now, I am confident I am not alone in this experience. You find a vegetable you love, like this amazing purple Vienna kohlrabi. You go outside, you plant an entire row of it, and several weeks later, nothing. How infuriatingly frustrating to go out and know you've not only wasted time, but perhaps you've moved farther into the season when planting them is not going to be as effective. One of the main problems may be how you planted the seeds. If you planted them too deep, you under or overwatered, there are many issues there. But prior to planting, if you had done a simple germination test, you might be able to tell ahead of time if the seeds are still good. So today I'm going to walk you through the germination test, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the shelf life of seeds and storing them, and why doing something like this, why testing for germination is so helpful and really essential in your gardening practice. Now, I've read if the seeds are within their expiration date, and you can see a packed for and sell by date on these. This one's 2020. This is a new bag that we bought. Well, they've said that you don't need to do a germination test, and that may or may not be true. A lot of it depends on how you've stored your seeds. Now, we keep our seeds in these little envelopes which prevent light from getting at them, but more important than the light itself is the temperature and the humidity. Now, I call this the cool and low, and I don't know if there's actually a name for it or not, but basically you're trying to keep your seeds cool and in low humidity. In fact, the rule of thumb, according to the Penn State Extension Office, is that you should have the number 100 as a maximum when you add together the temperature in Fahrenheit with the percentage of humidity. The recommended temperature is about 45 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit for storage, and that means that the average humidity should be around 50 to 55%. We keep ours in our basement where the temperature is about 60 degrees and the humidity is about 45%. So that's not ideal. It's a little bit over the 100, but it's pretty close, which means that we're not doing too much harm to our seeds. You have to remember that the seeds are alive. Inside these seeds are embryos that are going to develop, and oftentimes the food that goes along with it to let the seeds start that development process. And if you leave them in terrible conditions, for example, let's say you keep yours in your garage where the temperature swing can be wild, 50, 60 degree Fahrenheit swing, hot in the summer, really cold in the winter, that's going to create massive problems for your seeds in the long run, and they will not maintain viability. So the best thing you can do in terms of storage is to keep them in a cool, dry place. We also like to keep them out of the light as much as possible, which is also helpful in maintaining shelf life. Now, there are a ton of resources out there that show the average number of years that you can expect your seeds to be viable for. Just like the chart that I'm showing right now, you can find a wide range. Sometimes seeds last 1 year, sometimes 5 to 7 years. It really depends on the seed. No two seeds are exactly alike in that regard. And even seeds within the same variety, in the same packet that you've bought or that you've harvested, aren't necessarily going to survive for the same length of time. But at the same time, this is just an average, and it's not like it's a hard and fast rule. In fact, many of the charts that you find will probably vary a year or two this way or that. You have to remember that in 2005, there was a date palm seed that was germinated, and it was just a mere 2,000 years old, and it's still growing. So before you throw out your 10-year-old seeds or your 15-year-old seeds, give the germination test that I'm going to show you right now a try. Now, I did mention that we've been collecting seeds for quite some time, But here are some from our 2017 garden. Now this isn't all that old, about 4 years. And one of the things you may notice is that when we were labeling these in 2017, we didn't do a very good job of saying the exact name, but we did put the date on here. If you're saving your own seeds, it's really important to put the date, and if you can remember the variety or you know the variety, write the actual variety down. This is our Asian eggplant from 2017. And we know from looking at our charts that our eggplant is supposed to last about 2 to 5 years, and that our cucumbers and tomatoes can be anywhere from 2 to 10 years. So we have a wide range here. But 4 years in, before we plant these, it's probably a good idea to go ahead and check and see what their germination rate will be. Now I'm going to show you how to do this test using these orange tomato seeds. The first thing we want is to gather our supplies. And here I have a paper towel, a little plastic bag that's sealable, and some water. And the first thing I want to do is I want to wet my paper towel completely, just like so. And then I'm going to let it drip off and drain for about a minute, because we don't want it to be soaking wet, but we do want to keep a lot of moisture in this paper towel for the seeds. So now I'm going to lay my paper towel out flat on a nice clean surface here. And I'm going to take some of these 2017 orange tomato seeds. I'm going to put them in my hand gently, make sure my hand is nice and dry. And I'm going to take out 10 of them. And the reason I'm going to take out 10, and you could do 20, whatever percentage works well for you. The reason I'm going to do 10 of them is because that makes for an easy percentage. If I do this experiment with 10 seeds and 5 of them germinate, then I know I have a 50% germination rate. If 8 of them germinate, 80%. It's much easier to do a multiple of 10. Now, if you don't trust the numbers, if you want to go higher in terms of checking the viability of the seeds, and you do 50 seeds, it might be a bit of a waste, but you'll find that you can still do percentages the same way. Now hopefully you can see that I've spaced them far enough apart that they're not touching each other, and I'm going to go ahead and fold the paper towel over top like so. Make sure it's pressed against everything just gently, and then I'm going to roll the paper towel up. Now this just keeps the moisture in a nice concentrated space. You don't have to fold it up like this if you don't want to. It also saves space so you can use a smaller bag. So we're going to go ahead and take the bag out here, and we're going to go ahead and put the seeds directly inside and seal this up. That will keep all of the moisture in here as our test is running. And that's it for the initial preparation portion of the test. Now all we have to do is set this in a place that the seeds are going to like. Most seeds prefer a temperature of 80 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Some seeds want a little bit of light, some seeds want no light, and you can research that depending on the type of seed that you're trying to sprout. I'm going to show you 3 different types of seeds that we've germinated. 2 of them I haven't even looked at yet, so that's kind of exciting. We'll have the big reveal together. The first thing I want to show you is this wheatgrass seed, because it's got a really nice main root, and that's what we call the radicle. That's what really supports the plant and enables it to start absorbing water. All right, let's take a look together for the first time. I haven't looked at these yet. I put these radish seeds in here. These are Easter basket radishes to germinate for the first time. I put 10 seeds in here, and let's see how many of them already germinated. Again, this is, oh, I can see it through the paper towel already. This is a day and a half after being placed in here. Oh, wow. Let's take a look. Pick this one right up. A day and a half after being placed in, and not only do we have our radicle, but we've already got the first leaves forming in this one. It is incredible how quickly these radishes grow. Now, again, I only gave it a day and a half, so it is possible that what we're seeing here could have a higher percentage of germination. But let's do a count. I'll lift it up here so we can see, and we'll do a count together. So we have 1, 2, and this one's starting 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This one's breaking open as well right here. If you can look up close, that's 8. And then these 2 haven't done anything yet. Again, we might give it another day or so, but that's 80% germination rate. 80% germination rate, easily told simply by a test that took a day and a half in this nice wet paper towel. And I got to tell you, we're not going to waste these at all. You don't have to waste the seeds that you germinate. You can plant them just like anything else. going to be really careful. I don't like touching them as much as I am right now, but we're going to go ahead and plant these too so we don't let them go to waste. Now we're going to take a look at some speckled peas that I put through the same test. These I had to soak for about 8 hours. Some of your harder seeds need to be soaked. Some of them need to be scraped along the outside just a little bit. These are soaked for 8 hours, and they've only been, oh my, they've only been germinating overnight. All right, I did not count these out specifically because we plant more of these, and we're going to plant these for sure. But as I search through here, I see one that didn't germinate, and I see a second one here that didn't germinate. But beyond that, maybe your eyes are better than mine, but everything else here seems to have germinated completely. A simple test. If this was a crop that I was planting outside and I needed to know, now I do. The germination rate here has to be about 90%. That is impressive. And so we're going to do this test for the other seeds that we have that are just a little bit older. Very little time and really no additional expense. Now, not every seed is going to germinate at the rapid pace of those speckled peas or the radishes. They're really fast. You may end up with a couple more days before you see the results that you're looking for. But in the end, if you follow those simple steps, you'll have an approximate germination rate that you can use to determine how you're going to plant your garden. If you need to overseed, if you need to get new seeds, it'll be pretty straightforward. I want to remind you one more time of something I said earlier though. The seeds are alive, and you have to keep that in mind when you're taking care of them. So storing them in an appropriate place that's low temperature, low humidity is going to make a huge difference in keeping those seeds viable for as long as possible. We hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to give us a like, leave us a comment, remember to share and subscribe, and most importantly, remember, when you're with us, you are good to grow.